Are you listening? Yeah. Are you listening? Are you listening? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sports Talk in the Burgh. I'm Logan Carney here, as always, with the retiring Ian Kiss and my fourth favorite junior, Matthew Simkovic Jr. Now, today is Ian's last episode on Sports Talk, so there's no time to waste. Let's dive right in, boys. All right. Now, Ian and Matt, I don't know about you guys, but it's finally my favorite season of the year, baseball season. After a winter of waiting for America's pastime, it's finally back. I just want to know, what team are you guys looking forward to watch this year? It's a team that you think is going to be a potential surprise team.
And I'm not just saying this because I'm a diehard fan of them, but the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, 4-0 start. Who could have expected that? 27 runs so far. Who could have expected? Last season it took them about 4 games to get 10 runs. So, who would have expected that? But to me, this offense keeps, I think the bullpen they'll settle in. They'll find their mark. They'll find their confidence. And this starting pitching, Trevor Williams, we'll get to probably talk about little details later. Like, this team looks good.
Let me ask you, what is your thing of a surprise? So how do you see the Pirates? What's your projection for the Pirates if you're going to have them as your surprise team?
Like a number? I think the offense, I don't think they're making the playoffs. But I think a lot of people predict them to be, like some have them at 69 wins, less than 70 wins. I have them 77 to 80 range. But to me, the offense, that was my biggest surprise, is that if you can go out and win 13 to 10 games, that's how it's going to be, because your pitching could easily win the offense that game. You could have been embarrassed your first game.
I agree with you in the sense that we have the same about predictions and how we think the Pirates are going to go, but I don't view that as a surprise to me, because a lot of a lot of the experts are predicting them to be around 78 wins.
But some are at 69 too. There's a few out there that don't have that.
I haven't seen any of them, but my prediction was, the Oakland A's, a team that I think is very similar to the Pirates in how they built a lot of young talent on this roster. One guy I'm very excited for, Ryan Healy, Matt Chapman, 2 guys I'm very excited for. They had a great signing with Jonathan Lucroy, great trades, and when they got a guy from the outfield from the Cardinals, his name's escaping me for a second, Stephen Piscotty. It just looks like a very, very well-rounded team that a lot of people aren't expecting to be that great this year.
Yeah, I have the Braves. Now, they're going to surprise me just because they're a solid team. They have a lot of young talent. They really dumped a lot of money into their minors and their developing players. Their redone starting rotation has 1.6 ERA, which is pretty good. So, that's a surprising stat, especially coming from the Braves. Do I think that they're going to be one of the top teams in the MLB? No, but I think that they're going to surprise me.
Where do you have them finishing in the division?
Yeah, where do you have them finish?
They have a somewhat, the Nationals in there.
Honestly,
they have a weaker division.
I like the Phillies too in that division too. So I think second and third.
Not a great start for them, but I think they'll settle down as well. As we now have an extremely early look at all the teams this season, and we just talked about which teams we think will do well. Now, which team do Yins think will?
One, but I have the Nationals just because they have a history kind of lately of not making it to where they could. They've been in the NLDS, but I feel like I just have them choking.
But they're projected 104 wins in the regular season.
Yeah, in the regular season.
So you're saying they're just a choke in the playoffs?
In the playoffs, yeah.
I don't think anybody expects them to win the World Series.
That's where I think
expectations.
That's what I think they're going to be.
I mean, so wait, you expect them to be in the World Series?
No.
So that doesn't make any sense. Because you just said I expect them to be in the World Series.
I didn't.
But you also put them as your team.
I said I don't expect them to be. I think they're going to choke in the playoffs.
You think they'll win the division?
Possibly.
So you're counterproductive.
You think the Braves are going to be in there?
The Braves are going to be good. The Braves are going to win the division. They're going to surprise me. I could see the Nationals winning the division.
But do you think they win 100 games?
100 games, yes.
Can you name the top 3 people
so they
in the
won't
Nationals?
do as well.
I can't name the top 3 people in the
Nationals. All right, we just proved
Go ahead.
wrong. So
Go ahead. Expose me for not being a baseball guy. Go ahead.
Bryce Harper, Steven Strasburg, Max Scherzer, 3 of the best players in baseball.
I can't.
Well, we both picked the Brewers. All right, we already debunked him. So why are we talking about the teams? Ian, I looked at the Brewers. They made a lot of great signings, but in trades, but they seemed like they just upgraded, positions that didn't really need upgraded. Their rotation is still weak. Is what it looks like. Honestly, I have them finishing behind the Pirates in the division, in the 4th place. I still think they'll be competitive, so that they'll be somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
But I think
the Reds finish last, then the Brewers, and then the Pirates 3rd, and then Cardinals and Cubs. Or you can see the Cubs and Cardinals switch. But just the Brewers, I don't think every year they make these, like you said, the outfield, you don't need to improve the outfield. Great, you got these guys. Well, go improve what you need to, which is, your pitching, and that's what they didn't do.
This year's March Madness tournament finally wrapped up with Villanova beating Michigan for their 2nd championship in the past 3 seasons. Were you guys satisfied with how the tournament turned out, and what do you guys think about all the upsets?
I mean, the upsets, it's March Madness basketball. What more can you say? They didn't have, this isn't like, some people think that this, was the best year for upsets, but they've had more upsets in the tournament in the past. The 13 in 2013 is the record, and that tied with 2001. There was only 9 in the first round this year. But, we saw a 16 seed beat a 1 seed, something that's never happened. We saw an 11 seed make it to the Final Four, something that's only happened 3 other times in history, with George Mason in 2006, VCU in 2010, and then 2005 with LSU. Something that's only happened 3 other times in history since they expanded to 64 teams in the 80s. So it was phenomenal. It was exciting. It's March Madness basketball. This is why it's the best tournament out of all of them.
Which as it should. Like, I think it'll be very boring if you go winning all the not winning upsets, wanting everybody to, top teams win. But it's fun to watch, Duke go down. It's fun to watch teams, Virginia to lose in the first round, UMBC. That's fun.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a basketball guy. Typically for me in the past. Sorry, I don't watch the basketball playoffs. I don't. I'm not a fan of the basketball. But this year, starting off in the beginning with the upsets, the 16 over the 1, it made it interesting. It was something that I could get into and I could watch because it was
never
unpredictable.
happened before.
Because it was unpredictable, it was something that I could get into it and I could watch. I feel like it really reached out and got guys like me who don't typically watch to watch, and I feel like it was good for basketball.
Well, it's exciting because you look at some of the other tournaments, especially the professional ones. They've come, really predictable. Especially the NBA. It's extremely predictable.
Right now, it's not going to be, the first rounds aren't going to be that much fun because you know who's going to win. There's rarely any upsets in the first round of the NBA playoffs. Rockets, Warriors, Celtics. And
you essentially know it's going to be LeBron versus the Warriors in the finals every year. Of this year,
I don't know about this, but
this year's a little bit different, but there's only 4 teams. There's 68 teams in this tournament, and
it's about
11 seed made it. It's possible for all of them, even though it's not happened.
Run.
But now we've seen a 16 seed over a 1 seed. It's possible for these teams to do it, and that's what makes it so just strong and amazing. But moving on, we're going to stay a little bit with the tournament. Is Villanova defeated Michigan in the national title game for their 2nd time in 3 seasons. Now, guys, I got 2 questions for you on this one. One, what does this say about the Big East Conference? And what does it say about Jay Wright's legacy as coach of Villanova?
Well, Jay Wright, it's big because Villanova is a smaller school. They have 6,999 students, and that's not much bigger than Robert Morris here. And I think it proves that small schools can go and win national championships. And that, to me, is why he is, great. Yeah, he put Villanova on the map, and he gets, more recruiting money and more, recruits, and people want to go play for him now with Villanova. I think that's why they have good teams year after year. But to build that and to build what he is, yeah, he's up there.
I mean, you made it sound like that this was, an upset for them to get there.
It's not an upset. It's not. Yeah, it's not an upset.
Villanova has
But
an
just the
amazing
fact that
basketball program.
They have less than 7,000 students, and when compared to bigger schools like Duke and that have 60 to 70,000.
What's your thoughts though on just how this looks out for the Big East Conference? Because looking at I know we disagreed a little bit we were talking about this, but Matt, what's your thoughts on the Big East Conference after this?
The Big East Conference honestly is one that it deserves the credit that it gets. I mean, Villanova came in with a win, and there's decent teams in there. I feel like you can definitely make a case for the Big East.
I think that it's top heavy. I mean, it was Xavier and it was Villanova, but then have Providence and Creighton and schools like that and Seton Hall that they have good regular. Those teams were 10-8 in the conference, and they have good regular overall records. But look at the teams they play.
Well, what's the problem with being top heavy, even if it is? Well, there were 6 teams that made the Big East. Only 3 other conferences made more tournaments this year, so it's not that top heavy. Every single year in the past 20 years, the ACC, which I'm sure you would say is probably the best conference, it's all Duke and North Carolina have been in the championship. Is that not top heavy? The higher win percentage this year is the 6th highest win percentage of all time in the conference, and the best since 1991. And we know the history of the Big East Conference.
So the women's basketball, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish are the women's basketball NCAA tournament champions. The Fighting Irish took down UConn in a nail-biter in overtime in the Final Four and battled back and took down Mississippi State in the championship game and won on a buzzer beater by the same player who hit a game-winning shot 2 nights before. Here is the question, gentlemen. Were you interested in watching the tournament and this Final Four for the women's tournament?
I mean,
I wouldn't say
got me
excited.
interested, and look what happened.
I wouldn't say excited for the season or for the tournament. I was excited for that game. I was excited to see if Notre Dame could do it or if it was just going to be another UConn show.
I thought it was much closer than I predicted it to be. I mean, when Notre Dame got down and Mississippi State cut every foul in the middle, and Notre Dame couldn't get shots. I'm like, this is Mississippi State's game. And then I had to leave the game for an hour or so, came back, and Notre Dame celebrating, and I watched the final play, and I'm like, this team is clutch.
Here's the problem with the women's tournament compared to the men's tournament. There's not as much, you don't get as many upsets because it's like you said for the Big East, it's top heavy. Like all 4 teams were number 1, and let's look at some of the scores in the Sweet Six, the Elite 8. 72 to 59, 79 to 63, 83 to 69, 86 to 59, 84 to 75, 71 to 57. There's 9 to 10 points at least. They're not competitive games until the Final Four. The Final Four is exciting. Don't get me wrong, but those first rounds, it's just not exciting to me.
In the men's, you watch the whole tournament. Like you want to watch those first 2 games, even though most of them are blowouts. But with the women's, you can just watch the Final Four and it paints the picture for you, and you don't care what happened before that. Unlike the men,
it's like the NBA. It's predictable. Yeah. It's predictable like the NBA.
Coming up on Sports Talk in the Burgh, we talk Pirates, Penguins, Steelers, and Tool. You're going to want to stick around. Wow. Fuck you.
We didn't have enough time to get...
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow.
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones
Don't even.
and explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
The Pirates' start to the season has a lot of us shocked. Currently sitting at 4-0, I'm eager to know if you guys think this hot streak will continue. What's been going right for the Bucks this season?
Well, I don't know if it's not going to continue because it's really not, it's baseball.
Yeah.
Bad teams, there's 162 games, they lose. They're not going to go 162. It's impossible, pretty much, But do I think that this says something about the Pirates? I don't want to read too much into it. Because, yes, it was the Tigers. People say that. It was the Tigers. It was the Twins. But you still won those games. That's something. You look at the Steelers, for instance. How many times do we see them lose against bad teams?
Yeah.
And the Pirates are beating the teams
No
that they should. And that's a sign of a decent team.
Yeah. And like I said, the haters are going to hate. And what frustrated me is, it was my fault probably for going on Twitter, but Friday's game wasn't even over yet. And people were saying, I've seen enough of them for this season. They should lose as many games as... Why? Why are we rooting against them? The owners aren't going anywhere. I have to probably stop my tangent, but it's 13-10. They win. A win is a win in my book. And the Steelers go and beat the Browns. The Browns are 0-16 this year. No one says, well, the Steelers should have done that. Why? Okay, why do you got to say it against the Pirates?
They still look to me as the 78-win team that I had in the preseason.
Their offense is there.
They give me, I said earlier in the show where I didn't feel excited about the future. I never felt excited about the future. I'm excited about the future now. This rotation. It looks amazing, especially when you got Tyon's going to be there. Glasnow will hopefully figure things out. He's been good in the bullpen so far. Mitch Keller, top prospect, going to come up, and he might be great. Trevor Williams and Joe Musgrove. It looks like a great rotation for next year in the future.
And like one of my friends said, you don't have to go out and sign a $400 million guy. You don't have to have a visual star-studded team. This rotation's not star-studded, but they are pitching and they're out to prove a point right now. And I think that plays also.
They got three guys.
They
got at least 3 guys that can develop into potential aces in the future rotation. The future looks bright for them, and it's not something I would have said.
It's going to be great.
2 weeks ago.
3 years from now, watch out.
Now, LeVeon Bell is in the news again this week because guys. Even in the offseason, we can't go a week without drama from our favorite soap opera, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this time it's because he tweeted out, and I quote, "It's so hard to be a hero in a city that paints you out to be the villain." End quote. Okay, Two-Face. So, guys, does Pittsburgh unreasonably treat Bell as the villain, or should Bell just be quiet for a little while?
If he doesn't bring that up and say that quote, no one here, I don't think anybody would think it call him a villain.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has a bad rep for him. I think he's kind of putting that on himself.
That's something you don't do. You don't irritate Steeler fans because they are that passionate and they will rip you apart.
Matt, you're a hockey guy, so you're going to like this quote. Now, it's one of the few things from hockey that I personally know. It's a quote, the name on the front of the jersey is a lot more important than the name on the back. All right, here in Pittsburgh, they care more about the team. If you're going to try and say you're worth $17 million when there's already 2 guys that's going to be making $20 million next year, so you don't have to have $60 million locked up to 3 offensive players, you're making yourself the villain. I'm sorry, but you can't do that as a team. You can't do that, especially with a team with a small cap. As the Steelers. Steelers only have $5 million in cap space. If they gave Bell $17 million this year, they had $2 million in cap space. It's not something that you can do, especially when there's so many holes in the defense.
Okay, but I want to ask you a question, Logan. What do you do if you're Le'Veon? Okay, do you agree with the fact that Le'Veon Bell is one of the top?
He's the best. He's the best. He's the best running back.
He wants to be paid as a top receiver, and he's not a top receiver.
He's not a top receiver, but
why should he expect that? He's
That's the way all running backs do.
I'm not saying he should expect it, but I'm saying
he should have signed that deal 2 years.
Do you think that he should be getting at least a little bit more money than he is now?
Not in the cap situation.
Not
with the cap.
Not with the cap. Do you think that he's worth the money to keep him around?
Disregarding the cap, then yeah, but there's a cap, so you can't.
It's not the MLB.
With the cap, you can't.
To the ice. With their win over the Montreal Canadiens last week, the Pittsburgh Penguins have clinched their 12th straight postseason berth. However, what does this team need to do to three-peat and win another Stanley Cup? Also, it's important to mention that it's still unclear where the team will finish in the standings and start in the playoffs. So keep that in mind as we have this discussion here a little bit.
You know, the thing about the Penguins is you can never count them out because of their big three. Especially even more important, their big two, especially the two-headed monster. But you know, they have 3 guys that have over 80 points this year. It's a top-heavy team, but it's a phenomenal top-heavy team. They've well-coached. They're a team that you can't count out because they're a superstar team. They're always there. They're always going to do it. They have the experience. They've won the last 2 years. All right. Do they get a little tired in the playoffs because they've won the past 2 years?
Yeah.
That's the only question that I have for this team. But when you look at their roster, these top 3 players can win.
Yeah. Okay. So the three-peat definitely not out of the question by any chance. This is my topic. I'm here for this stuff and this stuff alone. But I definitely think that they aren't out of it. But I wouldn't be. They're not guaranteed it at the same time. There's definitely still things in the Penguins game that need improvement. Without a doubt. So we have one of the best power plays in the league, especially with our top 3. How many times has someone hit Kessel on the back door for an easy tap-in goal? It happens all the time. But teams were able to shut us down, especially lately. Montreal, there's no reason we shouldn't have more power play goals against Montreal for what we did. I'm not saying that I'm not satisfied, because I am, but I would like to see our special teams develop more, especially for the talent that we have. I would love to see our special teams develop more.
Yeah, any issue I find with this team has to do with the exhaustion, like I said.
The RMU men's basketball team's roster took some hits this transfer season, losing Deshaun Burke and Leandre Washington. Do you guys think this is an Andy Toole problem or a program problem?
Wait, Andy Toole are a program problem?
I mean,
doesn't that imply that they're both?
Do you think that their problem is because we're not
an NCAA problem?
we're not
It's an NCAA
Yes, I call that a program.
Deshaun Burke is an NCAA problem because he proved that he can play here and then he's going to leave. But DeAndre Washington, he quit. It's more of him being a crybaby.
I like that statement.
Maturity problem.
You know, I think overall, I think the issue, because we've seen a lot of players. You know, we talked about Rodney Pryor before the show. You know, we've seen these guys leave. We've seen Isaiah Still. You know, we've seen great players.
Again, I think a little bit of a crybaby.
Yeah, not finish their career, but I don't think it's a Toole problem per se.
Washington quit. How's that a Toole problem?
I think it's more. I mean, you can make.
I think you can say that.
You can make that argument.
Yeah, you can.
But I think personally,
I think.
You know, there's a great SI article that was published. I'm sure you've read it. I'm sure you've read it too. But 28 players, you know, left their schools to up to a higher level. So this is not including the top 6 conferences, which is obviously the Power 5 and the Big East. Before last year, that number jumped to 91. So this is something that's going around all in mid-major basketball. And we've seen it. You know, you look at Steph Curry's brother, Stephen Curry, who went to Duke and performed well there to get drafted in the NBA. I think Toole.
McConnell's.
Yeah, McConnell. I think Toole goes in with the mindset that these are the guys we're recruiting. They're the mid-major one and dones. Yeah. That's what I view.
Do not go anywhere, because when Sports Talk in the Burgh returns, we will present arguably. Stay tuned to find out.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
I spy something beginning with S.
Snow.
No.
Snow-covered trees.
Nothing to do with snow.
Head outside to discover incredible animals and beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Wow.
So grab your loved ones
Don't even.
and explore a world of possibilities.
Come on, this way.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you.
Now it's time for our favorite segment of the show, our final takes. In this segment, we will tell you whatever it is that is on our mind. We will start with the great and the retiring Ian Kist.
So I'm going to use this time to reflect as the Ian Farewell Tour has begun. As you know, it's my last time being on this show as I'm graduating in roughly a month. It's been an honor to be on this show as it started with Zach Lawfer's radio show as himself, Sam Anthony, Colin Wilson, and myself were all a part of the transition from radio to TV. It's been exciting to see this show grow and current producer Brandon Ellman take over the show this school year, as well as new faces on the show in Logan Carney and Matt Simkovic Jr. It's been an honor working with all involved, especially with the executive producer as well. Got to give him credit, Michael Bennett. I'm excited to see where the show will go in the future and the strides it will hit. The show has helped me as an aspiring sports broadcaster. I will always remember my time working on sports talk in the Burgh. I will now end with a quote, a very cliche quote, but one that fits. Like Dr. Seuss said, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Ian. It's been a pleasure, being on this show. Pass it over. All the original guys are gone, but we're going to take the reins and run with it. We do have a little gift here for you, and we're just going to end the show with it. So we will see you next year. And Ian, we hope you like this gift that we made for you. All right, let's go.
I have Denver, and just like the guy said, the student said in the video clip, it is Payton's last show. He needs to go out on the last game. He has to go out on top. And there were only two multiple goal games. Those are two multiple goal games for this Columbus team. So when they get the goals, they're not finishing.
He's right. They're getting
That's
smoked
what the blame. The whole team's the blame.
It's a lot of blame.
The tight end since Keith Miller.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't want to lead off.
I know. That's why I'm going to let you lead off.
Oh, right. So 4 total points
Cool.
for Artemis. Let me finish! For Artemis Spanu. We can call her the Brittany Griner of RMU
Yeah,
women's
that's what you're
basketball.
calling her? That's the decision
I
you
didn't
made?
stutter there. But one thing I want to keep an eye on, the men's team, the leading all-time scorer in RMU men's basketball, Myron Walker.
You meant right
No,
there.
that's not my other argument. You're going to say something, and I'm going to dispute that. But
That's
I was
great. You
prepping.
watched the video. I'm so
no,
proud of you.
hold on, let me finish before you be sarcastic. Go inside.
Okay.
She can go out on the arc.
So
She
get on
gets
the next
herself, hold on. She
I don't
gets
think she's better
herself
on the arc,
wide
arguably.
open.
Yeah,
Away
but
from
you're
that.
wrong.
No, you're wrong. Because this 2,124 points triumphs her 1683. I'm a big boy.
You know, maybe next time we'll go for a smaller size.
Me Crayola man. I got all the colors going.
I like it. I like
I
it.
got my glasses. I can't read the prompter with them, so I try to
I
take
just
them
don't know if I
off.
can take him seriously is the question. And
Yeah, it's a go-to. I had someone give me a high five.